What's up, everybody? Welcome to your Fantasy Football Today mailbag. Adam Azer with Jamie Eisenberg, Chris Towers. We have a big special guest for you here to start the show, as we could have some crazy weather this weekend, and we'll bring on a repeat guest, Kevin Roth of Roto Grinders, in just a second. Remember to send your emails, fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. We're also going to read your Apple Podcast questions and, do some fantasy cops. Well, Chris and I are dealing with some cold weather up north. Not that bad. Jamie, how's it going in South Florida over there? Just sunning?
It is the most perfect day in the history of days. I don't understand why the two of you guys decided to leave this wonderful weather. But congratulations to you for staying inside for the rest of the next 2 months.
I know why I left. I left for love. I don't know why Chris left, but we'll explore that a little bit later. Kevin Roth, rotogrinders.com, sports meteorologist, is here because we're going to have a weather weekend. How are you, Kevin?
I'm good. I love a weather weekend. I hate boring weather weeks, and a week like this gets me excited, so I'm good.
So if there was one game, if I just wanted to go and enjoy the best weather, what's the perfect game to go to this? Is it Giants Dolphins?
I mean, Giants Dolphins is tough to beat. You've got plenty of games that are inside, so you get 73 degrees with a roof. That's pretty good too. But yeah, probably down in South Florida, go hang out with Jamie, and you're good there.
Kevin, Adam doesn't know that there are indoor stadiums, so you just informed him of something brand new.
Oh, yeah, I always forget that. On the other hand, if I'm in New York, Western New York, at the Buffalo game on Monday, what could I be expecting?
Yeah, so that's the ugliest. We'll kind of run through what I'm looking at here. There's a handful of games where you could see some rain, but I'm not that worried. Cincinnati, Seattle, you could see some rain, but winds stay relatively light. No major impacts. You get into Chicago, now we're talking rain and probably about a 15 to 20 mile per hour wind. It's going to impact some of those deeper passes. But you mentioned it. The game that really stands out to me, and the reason why I'm on the show right now, is all because of the Buffalo game. This has looked ugly from the moment I looked at it on Tuesday. It still looks ugly. You're talking about temperatures around freezing, a chance for snow showers. Both of those things, not great, but manageable. But this is the kicker. We're going to see winds here sustained 20 to 25. Wind gusts of 40 miles per hour. That is significant, especially when you're adding it into the cold and the snow showers. It's an ugly, ugly day in Buffalo.
Chris, if I had a free ticket for you to this game, third row, 50-yard line, would you go?
No. There aren't a lot of it would have to be 75 degrees and sunny for me to want to go to a football game. It's not
ridiculous.
I'm not. It's just there's so much downtime. I'd rather watch it at home. I would miss all of the other games that are going on, or I guess it's a Monday night game.
Yeah.
Well, that excuse doesn't work, I guess.
No.
But yeah, I am outing myself as a person who does not really enjoy going to football games.
Ooh, I don't know that I want to go in that weather, but all right, Chris, more importantly, are you going to move Josh Allen down in your rankings?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, the quarterback position right now is so iffy that I'm not sure how far I could move him to where I would feel, much better about anyone else. I guess, would you rather have Jalen Hurts than him? I don't know right now. He's been since they've made this change to a more run heavy approach, he's had 3 pretty mediocre games out of 5. So I think it's more just that I don't know where I could move him to where I would feel more confident than anyone else.
He's also a great bad weather quarterback, is one thing to note. He's got a huge arm, so he can throw it right through the wind. He's mobile. He can move it with his legs. My issue here isn't so much on his performance. It's that these weather combinations might slow down the game, right? So they're handing the ball off more, just kind of changing the game plan a little bit. And I think that'll hurt both quarterbacks, even though in New England, you've got a guy who's super accurate with short passes. That's great for bad weather. Buffalo, you've got a guy who's got the strong arm. I just think the game plans are going to be a little bit different in this weather. And that's why I do think it's going to impact this game some.
And you think Chicago would be the other one to keep an eye on?
Yeah, the winds aren't going to be as strong in Chicago, but it does look likely that we're going to see rain at this point. And then once you get to around that 20 mile per hour wind threshold, and I think we'll be close to that in Chicago, that's when, field goals become difficult, longer passes become difficult. So I'm going to be watching that one closely. You can follow me on Twitter at KevinRothWX as we get closer to kickoff there. But those are the two that I'm really watching, especially that Monday night game.
Kevin, thank you for swinging by. Great stuff. And remember to go to rotogrinders.com to see more of Kevin's work. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
All right. That's some good information to help us get our lineup set. And all right, we'll take it from there. Thanks again to Kevin Roth. Next Sunday, it's an NFL on CBS doubleheader with early action featuring Justin Herbert leading the Chargers against the Bengals and the Eagles on the road against the Jets. Then one of the hardest hitting rivalries in football is renewed when the Ravens head to Pittsburgh for a meeting with the Steelers. It all begins at noon Eastern with the NFL Today. NFL doubleheader action this Sunday on CBS. You guys want to follow up, Jamie? Any changes that you might make in your rankings with the weather being so bad?
No, I mean, maybe you downgrade, Nick Folk and Tyler Bass, who have been must-start kickers and, two of the best of their position, just knowing that there could be some problems there. But again, do you want to carry two kickers, not wanting to give up on those particular players? Now, obviously, the Patriots have a bye in week 14, so you might just go 2 weeks without Nick Folk or, finding a replacement option ahead of time. But I think I always go back to, because I'm old, but Dan Marino once said famously, I could throw it in a hurricane. And when you get quarterbacks like that, and Josh Allen has that type of arm that, as Kevin alluded to, he can throw it in bad weather. He's not going to have as much success, obviously, as he would in good weather scenarios. Snow on the ground and slippery situations sometimes favors the offensive guys in a big way because they know where they're going.
Yep.
The defensive players don't know where they're going. So, you get a lot of busts based on, a slant route can turn into an 80-yard touchdown, and those are good situations. So I think you still look at Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs as must-start guys. But really, if the weather was perfect, these might be the only must-start guys anyway. So
yeah, who else would you be starting?
I don't know if this changes a lot of how you approach this game.
I think the kickers are actually really interesting. They're two they're kickers, but they're two must-start kickers.
Yep. Two
of the best. This is horrible, potentially, for them. So I don't know.
Folk is easier to get away from because you have next week, if you're thinking at it, from a strategic standpoint, which is always fun for kickers. But I think if you think, okay, I want Nick Folk for the stretch run of my fantasy league, once we get to going into week 15, you probably have, I'm going to say, a third of the league is not paying attention to waiver moves anymore because they're out of it. And then you're competing with, maybe half the league to try and get him back. So you can have an easier time to get it.
He's so far ahead of everybody else. I mean, Nick Folk has been, I know we don't usually talk about kickers, but Nick Folk has been by far the best kicker in fantasy. Man, can you put him on your bench for 2 weeks? Fantasy managers will have to make that decision.
With how many injuries there are right now, especially could you really, I don't know, maybe there are a handful of leagues where I could justify it. Maybe I've got a Jacoby Myers who I probably won't want to start in the playoffs or something, taking up a roster spot. But yeah, the idea of keeping a kicker that I'm not going to start on my bench for 2 weeks, I'd be fine dropping Nick Folk.
Okay, Kyler Murray is going to be a game day decision, which I guess would be better than a game time decision.
He's a 1 o'clock game, thankfully.
Yeah.
He was practicing. I think he get a full practice or at least a limited practice in.
No, only limited.
He was but it was limited before the bye.
It was limited 2 weeks before the bye.
Yeah,
and he's been dealing with these limited practice situations. Now, the one thing that's positive, aside from it being a 1 o'clock game, so you'll know, is Cliff Kingsbury addressed the gamesmanship part of this answer, saying that, he doesn't have to fully divulge if they're going to play. So, yeah, I think the only thing that you'd be concerned about in a negative way for these two players taking it into Sunday is if the Vegas line moves in the Bears' favor. If the Vegas line moves in the Bears' favor, they know something. You're probably going to see those guys sit. If the line doesn't move and goes the other way, goes in the Cardinals' favor, those guys are playing.
And I'm more optimistic about Murray than Hopkins at this point. Just given the fact that Hopkins was, not being used as a go-to number one wide receiver anyway before the injury, the fact that hamstring injuries have a tendency to linger, the fact that he's already played through it and suffered a setback, so it's possible that they, may try to be even more cautious. I'm not expecting him. He's more like a low-end wide receiver 2 for me this week.
Okay, Daniel Jones is out. Andy Dalton is going to start. Nick Foles is going to be the backup. And a couple of running back situations that we're looking at, Darrell Henderson and Philadelphia. Chris, anything on the Rams and Eagles right now on this Friday afternoon?
I haven't seen anything on Darrell Henderson. The thing with the Eagles guys was Boston Scott was just dealing with an illness. So I actually don't know if he practiced.
He did not
today.
practice on Friday.
That's interesting.
Yep.
That because the assumption is usually illness, you'll play through it. But we did get, Lamar Jackson sitting out with a non-COVID illness. So that is, I guess, less of a sure thing than we thought. And Miles Sanders has been limited at practice all week.
No,
so.
he's full.
He's a full participant? Okay.
Yeah,
great.
so right now it's the depth chart based on who's healthy and available would be Miles Sanders 1, Kenneth Gainwell 2, and then the other 2 guys. Jordan Howard's almost certainly out. He hasn't practiced all week with the knee injury. But if Boston Scott, that's something that they could take up until Sunday if he's healthy and he feels ready to go. Just to give you an example comparison, Clyde Edwards-Helaire missed practice on Friday with an illness, but Andy Reid's already said they're playing. So I would anticipate Boston Scott not being ruled out on Friday. That could change 10 minutes after we're done with the show, so I apologize if that's the case. But at this point, Miles Sanders is in a great spot, top 15 upside if there is no Boston Scott and Jordan Howard. I don't care what Kenneth Gainwell's potential role could be. Miles Sanders is getting a ton of work, and it would be dream-worthy if it's Gardner Minshew starting, because then there's less potential of stealing goal line work from the quarterback.
Well, what if it is Boston Scott and Miles Sanders? I still like Miles Sanders quite a bit. I liked him a lot last week, and I think he would have come through if he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, I think you put them in the 15 to 20 territory as opposed to one guy being in the top 15 scenario.
All right. Apple Podcast questions. This one is from Jacob. Full PPR. He's got a trade. He gives a lot of players and gets a lot back. All right. Jacobs, Alexander Madison, Terry McLaurin, and Jalen Waddle. That's a lot. Jacobs, Madison, McLaurin, and Waddle. Getting back Cooper Kupp and Miles Sanders.
No.
Jacobs, Madison, McLaurin, and who?
Waddle.
For Kupp and Miles Sanders. So you have a limited shelf life with Madison, but it's an awesome shelf life. Waddle has a bye next week, so you don't have him next week. And
this is a bad trade. I don't like it.
Huh?
I'm just going. It's not a good trade. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best. But
is Sanders an upgrade on Josh Jacobs? I don't think so.
I think it's lateral.
Yeah. So that's what Madison, McLaurin, and Waddle for Kupp.
That could be okay. He's only got Montgomery and Sanders at running back.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but 2 weeks from now he only has Montgomery at running back.
No, he has Jacobs still.
Jacobs.
Yeah, you'd have Jacobs, and we'll see about Dalvin Cook. We'll see how long he's out.
Right.
Well,
it's possible that
Anderson,
Dalvin Cook is longer
for us now. She tweeted earlier today that Cook is optimistic of a return, whether that's something that comes into fruition. No, I'm sorry. She said, according to sources, Cook will return. So if it is just the 2 weeks, think about your roster in the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, all right, 21 damage says, greetings, Hank, Jesse, Skyler, Gus, and Walt.
Never seen that one.
Yeah, I think everyone's seen that one. Half PPR start 2 out of these guys. Madison, Jamal Williams, Boston Scott, Saquon Barkley.
The first 2.
Yeah, I think you're sitting Saquon.
And Boston Scott, yeah.
And Boston Scott, yes.
Sean from a town 40 minutes east of Toronto.
Well, actually, can I ask one question?
Yeah, is it which town is 40 minutes east of Toronto?
Is Buffalo 40 minutes east of Toronto?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Javonte Williams or Jamal Williams?
Oh, Javonte to the moon.
Javonte or Elijah Mitchell?
Mitchell.
I'm trying to figure out how high to move Javonte Williams in the week of the replacement running backs. Because I've got Williams as 13. Like Jamal Williams. It's
it's a good question because why
Melvin Gordon hasn't practiced all week.
Why so confident Javonte over Jamal if Gordon's out?
Better player.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think better player, better offense. Javonte, I would guess Mike Boone will have a bigger role than either of the backups in Detroit. I could see Jamal Williams having 25 touches and that not being like a ceiling for him, whereas Javonte, I don't know. They do the way they've talked about Mike Boone, at least. I mean, I know they haven't used him much during the regular season, but I would expect he's going to have some kind of role. Whereas I'm not sure that's going to be the case with the Lions backups. So it could be a 7 to 8 touch difference between the two of them.
It could, but this is where volume versus talent should matter too. Because you tell me that Javonte Williams is getting 18 total touches and Jamal Williams is getting 25 total touches. I think just with that alone, I would take my chances on the 18 total touches from Javonte Williams.
Really?
Yes.
How many of those extra 7 touches are catches?
That's the question.
I would think it's. I mean, look, we saw last week. I don't know how much more Jamal Williams is going to get. He had 15 carries and 5 catches. Is he going to do that much more?
You just said 25. I mean, I was saying hypothetically.
But is he going to do that much more?
Probably not. But
23. I mean, look, they'll cap it at some point. They're going to have to, use some other guys. He's proven to be largely ineffective most of his career.
If you want to go with. Well, no, in his career when he's been the starter, he's been pretty good. I just
think Packers and Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
but you said he's proven to be ineffective. He's actually proven to be a very reliable starter when the other guy's been out. I don't think it's like if he were on the Packers, I'd start him over Javonte Williams. He's on the Lions, so I'm not going to. But if you're going to guarantee me 4 more catches in a full PPR league or something like that, I might just have to.
I think a lot of it does come down to like last week, Jamal Williams had 20 touches, Javonte Williams had 17. So, not the same gap that we're talking about, but that seems like a fairly reasonable projected touch total for them. The Broncos had like 32 or 34 running back touches last week. So it's, I don't think they're going to do that again.
No, they won. They won big.
And it was against a team that teams have run against a lot this season in the Chargers. Javonte wasn't that much better except for the touchdown. Now the thing is, in the Broncos offense, even though it's not a great offense, you would assume he has a better chance of scoring a touchdown than Jamal Williams. So that might be, if you take out the touchdown, it was like a half point fantasy point difference in PPR. But
who has more receptions this year?
I would guess Javonte, but he's also played
that's not
more games.
Who's got more receptions, Swift and Jamal Williams or Javonte and Melvin Gordon?
Let's take a look.
Yeah,
I would guess
that's Detroit easy.
You think it's easy? I don't think it's easy. I think it's going to be closer than you think.
Okay, I'm going to guess it's Detroit by 10. There's no way I'm getting to my Gibbs show on time.
By
the way. Okay. I just saw, I was looking for him on my phone. If I look distracted, I'm trying to find this Odell Beckham news. I think I just saw that Sean McVay expects Beckham to play. So I'll see if I can find that for you. Yeah,
there was the Rappaport report earlier today saying that there is some concern that Odell Beckham may not play. He didn't practice Thursday with the hip injury, and Rappaport's report was his week 13 availability is up in the air. It's not considered a major issue, but it's a concern for this week at least.
Okay, let's get back to the questions. We still don't know what's 40 minutes east of Toronto, but we do know the question is this: half PPR, pick one in the flex. Tyler Lockett, Boston Scott, Ayuk, or Alex Collins?
Ayuk.
Lockett or Ayuk, basically, right? I would go with Lockett.
From Grant, 10-team full PPR, pick a running back, a tight end, and a flex. Well, this says Chuba Hubbard, so we're going to sit him. He's on a bye. So let's start Jamal Williams. Pick a tight end. Dalton Schultz. Sorry. Would you have said Schultz or Pitts?
Pitts.
Pitts.
And then your flex, is it going to be Jamar Chase or Adam Thielen?
Chase.
Thielen.
From Medic Nick. Okay.
Looks like 40 minutes east of Toronto is in the middle of Lake Ontario. So,
well, he's very cold this time of year. From Medic Nick, am I insane for flexing Rob Gronkowski? I have Kelsey. I'd be flexing. Oh, yeah, you're kind of insane.
Yeah, you're insane.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Madison, Darrell Henderson. You got to go Madison, right?
It's not insane completely to consider flexing Rob Gronkowski, but not when you have Alexander Madison.
So one of the Broncos writers just tweeted that the season high in carries for Javonte Williams was 17, which was week 9 in Dallas. and the Broncos averaged 25 rushes a game. In that game where he had 17 carries for Javonte Williams, he ran for 111 yards, 6.5 yards per carry.
Yeah, he's awesome. But here's the problem. They averaged 25 carries per game. It's so unevenly distributed wins and losses. So,
What is it in close losses?
They've only had one, I think. Or did they have a close win? They had a close win over the Broncos. That's almost all of their games are blowouts. One way or the other.
They had a close loss to the Steelers where they had 17 carries total. They had a close loss to Cleveland where they had 12 carries.
Yeah,
total.
that was a weird game. That was the
Thursday night.
The Ernest Johnson game. They barely had the ball, if I recall.
I guess the 10-point loss would be kind of close-ish, and they had 21.
Right. Okay, from Fender Bender. I play in a very shallow league with my family, and the teams are pretty stacked. It's a 6-team league. Of my 4 running backs, I played Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift, and Cordero Patterson last week, and I benched Leonard Fournette. Obviously, I lost, but I don't think I made the wrong play. What is the lesson to learn from last week?
Get more people to play in your fantasy league.
Yeah, I mean, anytime like this is when I'm in a league where I have that kind of depth, it almost makes me more anxious as the season goes on because you don't want to lose a game because you made the wrong choice. And anytime you're talking about 3 guys for 2 spots who are all within like a 5 to 10 spot difference in the rankings, ultimately, like we do these numerical rankings and we say, well, 13 is higher than 17, so start number 13. But like, it's all probabilities, and it's a lot closer to like a coin flip for a lot of these guys than the ordinal rankings may make it seem. So I think as you get to this part of the season, if you have the opportunity and you have depth like that, trying to trade from that depth to build a better starting lineup with fewer decision points, I think is the way to go.
Yeah, and also just learn to live with those types of decisions because they happen all the time. It's just the nature of it. This is from Chat Baby. Guy in my league is whining to the commissioner that Cordero Patterson should be listed as strictly a running back or a wide receiver. He's upset that I beat him while starting 4 running backs, including Patterson, Javonte, Eli Mitchell, and Dontrell Hilliard. I'd like to hear your opinion on this, on the eligibility of Cordero Patterson, Jamie.
I mean, if the commissioner did not establish either at the start of the season or when this became a problem after the first week or two, that, he should be either designated in one spot or the other, then you can't do anything about it. So you can't change the rules middle of the season. If your league is allowing him to be used in multiple spots, then that's the way he should be approaching it.
It is weird that like, when was the last time Cordero Patterson was really like a wide receiver? Because he had 64 carries and 24 targets last season. He was used more like a running back last year for the Bears. I guess
It's true.
maybe the Falcons listed him as a wide receiver on their depth chart coming into the season. I'm not sure. But it is sort of weird that he was listed as a wide receiver coming into the season, I think.
So be it. It is a shame that I did not think anything of him. I wish I had him.
We all did. I mean,
yeah.
And kind of saving my Scott Fishbowl season.
Hey, nice. All right. Is he eligible in both positions there too?
Best wide receiver, and I wouldn't even use him at running back there.
Okay. Time for the fantasy cops. This one is from Elias. I'm too pissed off right now to try to think of anything fun to open with, so I'll get right into it. My 12-team PPR league with high school buddies is entering its 10th year this season. We decided to hold commissioner elections as people were disappointed with the performance and the involvement of our previous commissioner. The league is typically very competitive, and we know what we're doing. I won a very contentious election and was named commissioner to the chagrin of the now former commissioner and a few other core members. They've been making my life difficult at every opportunity, creating difficult situations for me to deal with and complaining about how I handle everything. Our league is very tight. I'm now 6-6 with a 13-point lead in overall points for, but just hanging on to the 6th and final playoff spot. Okay. I have Aaron Rodgers and unfortunately did not have space on my bench to back him up last week, thinking I'd be able to pick one up off the waiver wire this week. Instead, the 7th place team, who's second in points for and the 8th place team and the 11th place team, the former commissioner who I'm playing this week, they all collaborated to use their fab to acquire every single starting quarterback off waivers and block me from putting up any points at the QB position this week. This will hurt my points for and cripple my chances of picking up a win this week, both very important factors in the playoff race. Obviously, I should have backed up Rodgers, and teams are entitled to spend their fab how they want, but this really stings as it has a good chance at costing me the playoffs, and it was orchestrated by the former commish who has no chance to make the playoffs, and the 2 other league members who have made my life as commissioner as difficult as possible. I apologize for the long-winded email, but I wanted to hear your perspectives on the situation.
First off, go see if Mike Glennon is available and make sure you have a quarterback. So at least you get something there in case you can't resolve this like adults.
Go maybe. I mean, honestly, if you're truly desperate, see if Kendall Hinton has QB eligibility in your league, because at least like maybe he hits on a big play, and you get something more than nothing.
Or pick up Gardner Minshew, pick up Colt McCoy. They could be starting this week as well. The second thing I would do is, obviously you won the election, so the majority of the league clearly likes you. I would communicate with those people that this is what's happening. And if you would like me to still be the commissioner of the league, let alone be in the league, these other 3 people are no longer in the league. Like if they're going to do something like that shady, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, they need to be penalized. This is the definition of collusion. These players.
So have you?
They did it together. If it is in fact true that they did it together, and they probably did, if they all picked up every backup quarterback.
The conspiracy part, yeah. Have you guys ever done this though to your opponent?
As an individual, yes. With other fantasy managers,
it's with the other people part.
Yeah,
but I've definitely done this in a playoff matchup.
Sure, that's totally fair game. But doing it with other people,
no, it's not fair game.
What if I have a whole bunch of fab and you need a quarterback and I'm playing you?
And you're picking up every single one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have absolutely that right.
That is.
Yeah, I did that with kickers in a playoff match.
I've done that myself before.
Oh, it's a jerk. There's no question.
Wait, if you
there's no question. It's a jerk move.
If you pick up the kicker, drop him, put him on waivers, pick him up.
No way. Don't do it.
Wait a second. Really? I think it's totally fair.
No, it's not fair.
So I do dislike the pick them up and then drop them because that's just exploiting a loophole in the rules. But yeah, no, I've done that.
Jamie, what's your beef here? All right, so let's clarify, right?
I agree. It's a jerk move.
It's not. It's strategic. You pick up.
That's being a jerk.
But being strategic and being a jerk are not mutually exclusive. Often they go hand in hand.
I just want everybody to know what we're talking about. Scenario here is I'm playing Jamie in the playoffs. His quarterback got hurt, whatever. He needs a quarterback. I've got a lot of fab left. I use all my fab. I pick up 4 different quarterbacks to keep them away from Jamie. That's a jerk move?
100%.
It's perfectly fine.
I think I wouldn't be upset at all. I think it's a great move. I think it's the benefit that you get for saving your fab. Shame on you for not doing it.
It happens in real life. You'll see there have been times where players have been claimed on waivers just to keep them from another team.
I'm really surprised that you have a problem with this, Jamie.
There's been players that have been kept from other teams, like teams have picked up multiple players from another team.
I can think of one example where the Philadelphia 76ers picked up a player who was waived just to keep them from being signed to another
player.
team.
We're talking about multiple players.
But, at that point, we're just talking about differences in
Adam picking up
degree.
The best quarterback available when he doesn't need one is fine. Picking up 6 quarterbacks
is fine.
Is ridiculous.
No, it's fine.
No, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's a jerk move, and it's fine.
It's not a jerk move. It's the benefit of saving your fab. You can't do it on waivers, right? I mean, there's a priority list, so you can't do it with waivers. But if you have saved all your money, then you can use that however the heck you want. It's the collaborating with other teams thing we all agree is bad. I am surprised that you guys think that's bad.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, but you still think it's a jerk move.
Right, but being a jerk is fine if you want to be a jerk.
I don't want to be a jerk. I just want to win. Is that the only fantasy cops I have?
Sometimes you have to be a jerk to win.
Sometimes when you win, you really lose. We know that. Great sports movie. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back.
I don't know.
Oh, it's Jamie. You know that, right?
Yeah, white man can't jump.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll read your emails.
Big injury in Pittsburgh.
What happened?
I'll tell you when we come back.
Oh, nice tease. Okay. Big injury in Pittsburgh right after this on Fantasy Football Today. Your emails at fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. Jamie teased a big injury in Pittsburgh. And is this a hockey injury? Pittsburgh Penguins?
No, it's actually not an injury, but it's a illness situation that is going to be good for the Ravens' run game potentially. Cam Hayward did not practice on Friday with a illness, and I don't know if they know it's COVID or not, but doesn't seem like he's going to play, or potential of him not playing.
Okay. And I saw Marlon Humphrey didn't practice on Friday for Baltimore. He's been missing all week from practice, and he's their top corner.
Turn to a shootout.
Maybe. All right, you ready for emails? Here we go. Jerk Adam over here, just reading his jerk emails.
I can't wait to see how people just obliterate you for this one.
I don't know. I see very mixed results. I see mixed results here. Some people, saying it was a curse word. It's not a jerk. Laughing my face off. It's not a jerk move. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely it's spiteful.
No problem with that. One person wants us to settle in the octagon. We could do that.
Me and you in the octagon?
Yeah, man. I'm fast.
Let's go.
I'll run away. All right, here we go. Full PPR from Rob. You're faster than me? You're old, bro.
Well, I'm sorry. Spring chicken.
All right, pick one in PPR.
You haven't used your legs in about 2 years. You haven't moved your house.
That's fair.
I live in a townhouse, Jamie. There are a lot of steps. My house is a like big stairmaster. Think of it that way. All right, Mooney.
If I lived in your house, I'd be turning the lights off on you all the time because my kids is on the outside.
Elijah Moore, Darnell Mooney, or Van Jefferson?
Darnell Mooney.
Yes. It's close with him and Moore, but Mooney.
Okay, from Jeff, 12-team half PPR. Bateman, Myers, or Hilton?
Hilton does have his history against the Texans. He scored against them earlier this season too?
No, 4 for 80 on 4 targets, but he just destroys them. I'm going Hilton with the potential.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
RB2, Devontae Freeman or Melvin Gordon if he plays?
For me, it would be Gordon if he plays, but...
You said Devontae Freeman?
Yeah.
Oh, with this Hayward news now, there's... let me see exactly who this is. So Alex Kozora, who works for SteelersDepot.com, just tweeted that the record for the Steelers have ever allowed on the ground is 338. That record could be in jeopardy this week.
Oh, come on.
All right, so who do you think has more broken tackles this season? Adam Aizer or Devontae Freeman?
Well, if it were me in the octagon against Jamie, it'd be me.
You just have a broken face.
It is Devontae Freeman by 1. He has 1 more broken tackle than Adam Aizer does so far this season. I think he's dust.
Don't need to break ankles when you're breaking people. Don't need to break tackles when you're breaking ankles.
Yeah. Or breaking the plane of the goal line. All right. Anyway, from Chris, Logan Thomas or Matt Breida in the flex?
I would go with Thomas.
Yeah.
I also have Dontrell Hilliard on my bench. Is Hilliard automatically my flex over Logan Thomas and Matt Breida going forward?
Yes.
That would be my assumption for next week, but we'll see what happens with McNichols.
As of today, yes.
Right. Doug says only way Adam wins is if he doesn't shower for a month or so. Ha. I can do that. Let's see. What do we got? Mark from New Jersey. I am the Christian McCaffrey manager in a full PPR 3 receiver, 2 running back, 1 quarterback flex league. I have David Montgomery, Boston Scott, and Tevin Coleman. So he could use an upgrade there. I have Keenan Allen, Jefferson, Mooney, DJ Moore, and Bateman. What if I offer DJ Moore for Alexander Madison? Grade the trade.
That depends a lot on where your team is. If you're fighting for a playoff spot, I think that's an absolute obvious must do. If you're locked into a playoff spot, you could be hurting your team for the playoffs. So I I think it depends on your team context, but generally speaking, I would lean towards doing this one.
Is it just more for Madison straight up?
Yeah.
Yep.
I would do it. I mean, you're getting 2 weeks of a potential top 5 running back, and it's no guarantee that Cook comes back. And Cook may come back and re-injure one of his 2 shoulder injuries. Or what if the Vikings go 0-2? I know it seems a little surprising since they have Detroit, and they decide, you know what, Dalvin, we're not risking it. You're done.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
there's so much more upside for Alexander Madison.
And from Ryan, dear Archuleta, Mosley, Miller, and Brown. I don't know what this is.
I mean, Adam Archuleta.
Yeah, I know him. And then I was like, Adam, Dave, Jamie. I don't think so.
Who is it? Archuleta what?
Mosley, Miller, and Brown.
So CJ. Who's Miller? Did they all go to the same college?
I don't know. It's possible.
I don't know where Adam Archuleta went to college.
Go to Nebraska?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Figure it out, someone. Pick 3 in non-PPR. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Arizona State.
That's Arizona State. You sure it wasn't Nebraska? Because it really felt like I was right there.
No. Jamie agreed with you, but
yeah, I think Jamie
is Arizona State.
Gave me a false sense of security. All right, pick 3.
I'm trying to build you up after your stupid take before.
I don't know. You benefit. You save your fab. You get to do what you want with it. All right, pick 3 in non-PPR. James Robinson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jamal Williams, and Mike Williams.
The 3 running backs.
Yeah.
Robbie from Atlanta. I have Jalen Hurts at quarterback on a bye next week. Who would you rather have next week? Heineke against the Cowboys or Burrow against the Niners?
Burrow.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, it's like we're all excited about Taylor Heineke. He's done basically what Burrow's been doing. You know, just not a lot of success fantasy-wise. He's been winning games. But 3 of his last 4, I think, or 4 of his last 5 has been like 17 points or less.
Yeah. Burrow, though, before the bye, I don't know, what was it, 8, 9 games or something, scored 22 or more points in all but 1 game.
Yeah, he had like an 8% touchdown rate, though, was the thing. He had multiple touchdowns in each of his first 8 or 9 games, I think. The one thing, I guess, would be that the matchup against the 49ers probably isn't one where the Bengals will just run away with it and be able to sit on the ball. So they probably will have to throw more than 30 times.
Well, if I'm the Jalen Hurts manager, I definitely want a backup on my team, and I'd want it to be Burrow. Okay. Sense. From Austin, Dave and Heath have Gage. I have to check and make sure this is correct, but Dave and Heath have Gage as a top 30 wide receiver. Everyone has Pitts as a top 12 tight end. Matt Ryan has thrown for less than 190 yards in 4 of 5 weeks. In 3 of those weeks, he threw for 150 yards. Under 150 yards, excuse me. Please explain. I'm debating starting Gage, but I'm very nervous. I have Moore and Adams on a bye this week.
I mean, I think you've seen kind of what Gage is. He's like an 11 PPR type guy, which puts him in that 30-ish range, given the receivers that we have and the competition, for players around him. At least that's the way I approach it. I have him like 36 or 35 in that range as well. Pitts can get you 8 or 9 PPR points and still be a top 12 tight end. And both those guys can do that, for 50, 60 yards receiving and 5 or 6 catches, depending on how it goes. So it's not like Matt Ryan has to, go for 303 for those guys to finish in the spots that we're talking about.
Right. Yeah, I have Gage lower than that just because I don't see much upside. But the logic there generally is correct. Yeah. Like if Russell Gage has 5 catches for 60 yards, he's probably going to be the 32nd wide receiver or whatever. So, yeah.
All right, from Peter, I beat my trade deadline by 3 minutes today. Did I rush and make a bad deal? In PPR, I give up Joe Mixon and Keenan Allen. I get Jonathan Taylor and Jamar Chase. That's a good trade. Well, like it's a fair trade.
Yeah, fair trade. Yeah, I mean, Mixon is clearly a step down, but not a huge step down. I think you lose the receiver spot, but you're getting the best running back in football right now. So that's what you have to the type of players you have to give up to get a player like Taylor.
Yeah, and I know nobody needs to sing Jonathan Taylor's praises at this point, but last week was not a great game script for him, and that was historically, at least in the first year and a half of his career, the kind of game where Jonathan Taylor wouldn't be great, and he still had 19 PPR points. He just he's at that level now. Whereas I don't know if Joe Mixon is entirely game script averse.
And it was against the Bucks too, Yeah. Tore right through him. Okay, from Matthews, sitting at home listening to you guys after having back surgery, I have a tight end dilemma. Rest of season, I need to cut one. Fant, Gesicki, or Freiermuth?
I would cut
think
Gesicki because he's on a. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'd probably cut Fant. But if you're just looking at it, Gesicki's got a bye next week.
Yeah,
So, how many people are running to pick him up? But Fant is the worst player of that trio right now.
I agree with both of those things.
I'm going to read a couple of comments here, a couple of questions in the chat. Start 2, Sony Michel, DeAndre Hopkins, Elijah Moore, and Jerry Jeudy.
In about an hour, this answer might change. But for now, if it's no Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel is the easy one.
Yep.
And I would start Hopkins. If there is Henderson, I would go Hopkins and Moore.
I agree with that.
Okay, full PPR flex, Saquon Barkley or Van Jefferson?
I would go with Saquon.
It's just crazy that this is where we are with him.
Yeah.
Yes, you go Saquon, but whew.
Flex question, Jamal Williams, Pat Freiermuth, Foster Moreau, or Javonte Williams?
It's between Javonte and Jamal. If it's, I think I would just go with Jamal. It's going to be really hard to sit Javonte Williams, but yeah.
All right, Jamie likes Javonte better if Gordon's out. Miles Sanders or Miles Sanders or Boston Scott. It's going to be Sanders, right?
If both play, yes.
Yeah.
And Brady or Herbert?
Brady.
Brady if it's Tom, Herbert if it's Quinn.
That's fair.
And that's next week, Cam Newton against the Falcons or Ryan Tannehill against the Jaguars?
I would go with Cam.
I would go with Cam as of now. I hope that we get Julio Jones back. You're not going to get A.J. Brown back, but it would be nice to see Tannehill with something at receiver that will help him. But yes, Cam right now.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. Thanks for the Fantasy Cop submissions. I'll try to get to some more next week. All right, if you are
you should add a bunch of Fantasy Cop submissions and then drop a bunch of Fantasy Cop submissions, and then maybe we can try and figure out which submissions we should answer.
If you are on YouTube right now, I'm about to do FFT in 5 with Jacob Gibbs. Check that out in podcast land as well. Fantasy Football Today in 5. And have a great day, everybody. We will talk to you later on